Sheldon Primus.
Welcome to the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus, where we blend safety smarts with business brilliance and a pinch of Sheldon's signature wit. Whether you're a safety pro, a fresh-faced consultant, or just safety curious, get ready for a show that'll educate, entertain, and elevate your safety game. Let's dive into the art of consulting with your safety Sherpa himself, Sheldon Primus.
This episode is powered by Safety FM.
Safety Sherpa. Love me some JR. Yes, I am your Safety Sherpa, guiding you through all the stuff about how to be a safety consultant. We talked about stuff regarding OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. I'll help you with EHS as a whole and a whole bunch of other stuff. So welcome to the show, the Safety Consultant Podcast. Today I am still in Ocala, Florida. Bittersweet. We're about to head out and get back on the road again, but won't be back in this area in a while, so I'll be by for Florida for a little bit. Oh, okay. But anyway, we are getting ready to get back on the road, heading west in the U.S., and just want to make sure before I go and do some of that west traveling, I leave you guys with some stuff to think about with your jobs, because it's been a lot of upheaval and talk about things that may be going on with tariff talks and businesses tightening up their belts and all that. And usually the safety department's one of the first to go, if not the first. HR, I guess, and then safety or something similar. So generally speaking, we get a little bit nervous when it gets around the talk that says, gang, we're going to have to tighten our belt. We're only going to do the essentials to keep the business running. And there you go. The safety and HR people get the talk. Yes, you know that talk. So this last couple of weeks, I was telling you guys about how to make your job more valuable, because you are. Most companies, they don't see us as an area where they could be some revenue. But yes, there is a source of revenue related to what we do. So last two episodes, I was just telling you pretty much about why they let safety go first. And then we talked about the hidden cost of an incident. And so give you guys the business case for safety. That's what we did with the last episode. Now we're going to go a little bit more. And if you have been telling your organization, you got to keep me around. You need safety because there's going to be regulation under the Trump administration still, and you guys still need me. And you're right. But if you hear back, oh no, there's going to be no regulation for OSHA under the Trump administration. It's going to defund the OSHA department. And therefore, you might be getting pushback, if you would, for your department and your position in particular, because the misnomer out there is that during a President Trump administration, there won't be any regulatory activity, though he is definitely not a fan of regulation. And he says with the executive order that's out, for one new regulation that goes in place, you got to take away some regulations, 3, I believe. So doesn't mean that he's against regulation, just means that it's selective regulation. So we have history too. So therefore, what I'm going to do this episode is I'm going to take away and just defang that bite that whatever the critical decision maker in your organization may say, oh, we don't need safety because we aren't going to have any regulations. It's going to be us going around and just doing anything we want because there's no rules. Yeah! No, that's not how it works. I'm sorry. You still got rules. So we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to switch your narrative, though. If you're trying to use OSHA as the big bad wolf, That depends on your industry. Okay, and I'll show you guys how to figure that part out. But right now, though, I just want to at least let you know what the plan is. If you want to hear this beginning of this conversation, you have to go actually back a little to episode 307. And in episode 307, I'm just giving you the introduction of these three-part series that I'm doing right now, just how to prove your worth as a safety department, as a safety professional, so that you don't get fired first. And you don't get fired at all is the plan, right? So I'm helping you guys out with that one. So that is the episodes right now. So I'm going to take a quick drink. So hold on. Oh yeah, it's funky. All right, chair dancing is allowed. Thank you. I needed that drink. All right. I'm getting used to working my board live again because I'm gearing up some strength to do live streaming once again. It's been some years since I've done it. If you guys are interested in hearing me live stream, comment on wherever you got this video from, and I'll get you right there on the comment. So if it's on LinkedIn, if it's on Facebook, wherever you saw the link to get to this podcast, go ahead and comment and tell me if you're interested in a live stream version of the podcast, because I believe I'm heading that way next. So what I'll do is I'll do the live stream version, and whatever you guys are listening to me on a podcast service, then you'll be listening to the rebroadcast of the live. So it would, in effect, help me time-wise, but then also you guys could start seeing a face to the voice. And I'll screen it on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't gone on that yet, it is just go to youtube.com. I think is, or the @ symbol is what it is, and I'm Safety Consultant US. So just sign up for that one. You'll be able to see the upcoming live streams. So again, go to YouTube, and you're going to be signing up at safety. Well, not signing up. You're going to be following, subscribing is the terminology. I got to get up with it, right? And got to get hip with the new terminology. What I said, that is a negative. All right, so you're looking for at Safety Consultant US. So subscribe to that, and then you'll be ready. You'll be able to start seeing me working the magic board as we are doing live streams coming up soon. Building my energy, building my strength, getting past myself. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the fallacy related to now that President Trump is in office, that we are not going to have any regulations. That's it. We're done. No regulations. Get that out. So we are going to have some regulations because we still have workplace hazards that meet really, really large criteria of, for OSHA, they have a guidance, if you would. And if it is, someone is most likely to get hurt, that goes up the tier on this guidance of how bad an injury is. And then if someone gets hurt, it's going to lead to either a fatality or their life is going to end up having to change in some way where now they can't go back to their normal life. They're going to have to readjust somehow with a wheelchair or something similar, a pulmonary lung issue that they can't breathe, and so now they need a machine to help with their assist them in breathing. So those type of injuries or potentials with high exposure, they will still have regulation. No matter what you think, they will have regulations. However, if you're in something like retail or you're into the Dollar Generals of the world, okay, you guys, you're on the list. They're going to come seeing you guys, but the other small retailers, all right, maybe not as much. I'm thinking OSHA is going to go, I'm more than thinking, there's data based on this. I'm still writing a report. I know those of you that were listening earlier in the year, I did a whole little area about the difference between the Democratic administration and the Republican administration and the Chevron deference and what that means now. So if you haven't heard it, you need to go back to episode let's see, what is that episode? 296, it looks like. And that's me first talking about blue versus red. Blue depicts the color of the Democrats. Red depicts the color for the Republicans. And I start telling you guys the difference. I even played a little part of my episode with Jordan Barab, who was the assistant labor secretary. And that was during the Obama administration when Dr. Michaels was in charge. He was number 2 under Dr. Michaels. If you want to hear that episode, it's going to be episode 258. And one of the questions I asked was, what's the difference between a Republican and a Democrat in office? So that relates to what we're going to say here. And he said, typically, and he verified something I said, which is, as a Republican administration usually goes to compliance enforcement and focusing on that. And when Democrats are in office, Democrats in office, compliance enforcement, they focus on that. Republicans in office, compliance assistance. That's what I meant to say, assistance. And those are things like they'll spend more money with voluntary protection programs, VPP, where you as an organization, you are going to have such a high safety value system, safety culture, organizational culture, that OSHA, when you go through the actual process to become VPP, they'll back off for some years, and they're not going to do any actual investigation on you regarding your workplace general inspections and stuff like that. You're going to be exempt, and they'll do VPP checkups. So those people, they're still going to have safety. They value that stuff. But the people who don't, then they're definitely going to see more of OSHA. And in the Republican administrations, they value stuff like that, where business will take the full authority and they'll let the regulators kind of back off and focus on the big things. There's still going to be an OSHA, unless, of course, you're a Republican House member Andy Biggs, who put out House Regulation 86. So HR 86 is out there, and the bill is literally called NOSHA, and it's N for Nullify OSHA, Occupational Health and Administration Act. So his NOSHA Act in that House bill, literally it's 2 sections. First is the title, and then the second section is the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1971 is repealed. The Occupational Health Administration is abolished. So that's it. Repeal and abolish. Repeal the act, which gives the legal authority for the administration. Abolish the administration. So that's it. That's all he did. He submitted into Congress. They're going to have to do something with it, or they could just bury it, up to them. But right now, it looks like as of January 3rd, 2025, it's been referred to the House Committee of Education and Workforce.
Epic fail.
So that's where it is. I don't think it's going to go much further than that, but it's been introduced, so who knows. So other than that, the real point of someone telling you that OSHA is not going to regulate us, therefore your department is not relevant, or your position, the assumption is, now that President Trump is in office, that he's going to deregulate to the point that you won't see an OSHA. So let's go back to history. So the 2017 to 2021 range of where OSHA was, they didn't have an actual administrator. They tried really hard, but the help committee could not get their act together as to get someone to lead the agency. So it stayed in the acting stage for quite a bit. We had an acting person in OSHA. And there was some deregulation talk. Again, for every one regulation you introduced, you had to take away some regulations. So therefore, OSHA didn't do too much with regulations. And their enforcement actually did drop. So it dropped by 52%. Didn't mean it went to zero. It dropped 52%. I know that number because I've been working on a report for you guys ever since I did that episode. I promised you guys a report. I've been doing my numbers. So this is soon to come out. I think I'll be ready to release this after we're done with next week's episode, because next week we're going to talk about truly how you make your position solid to the degree that I feel that you will not be cut. You'll be worth it to the organization, and they make it like bulletproof, if we could say those words. So as much as you can. So here's some things that I looked up and I found that was really interesting. My whole paper was, now that we have an equal number of Republican presidents, back with the George Bush administration, going into Obama, going into President Trump, going into Biden. So I was looking at those years and seeing what's the differences between Democrats and Republicans in the most recent. I have historical data on it, but the most recent data, just wanted to see. So during the first President Trump term, we actually got the walking and working surface, that subpart D in 1910. Whoo Lord, was that one hard to get past. It was in there for like a good 20 years, and no one was able to get it over the hump. But in the first President Trump administration, that did it. And now you had a change where the walking surface in walking working surface subpart D in general industry kind of mimics subpart M in construction, where that's the fall protection, and subpart X in the ladders. So it was a very good thing. I was really glad that they did that. So nice, good clarity there. You guys remember the silica rule? And that silica rule in 2017, 2018 was under Trump 1 watch. A lot of businesses weren't happy about that, especially you guys in construction. You remember that. So again, that's significant regulation that happened during the first Trump administration. So it's a misnomer that, you're not going to get any regulation. So what about HASCOM? You guys remember? We had an update that was proposed in 2021 for the HASCOM. So again, that was something there that was a big enough item, if you would, that the actual administration said, hey, let's do this, let's get this done. And so it started getting proposed during that time period. There was, in the EPA side, for some of us who were, we wear the two hats of environmental health and safety. So we've got the health and safety with OSHA and the environmental with EPA. During those same years, there was a repeal on the Clean Water Act, that rule change. But there was an affordable clean energy rule, and that one was for pretty much to replace a clean power plan. So it's still a rule, but one replaced one that was more strict with something less strict, but it's still a rule. There was a revision in the lead and copper rule, so that was also something that was attributed to that time period. The enforcement actions did go down, and truly OSHA staffing went down. So inspectors, let's see, it was 862 inspectors during the previous Trump administration, where before in the Obama administration there was 1,000. So it kind of went down. The inspections went down right about 3,000. So not a whole bunch, but it went down about 3,000 inspections. And let's see, everything was mostly on the emphasis programs, like I mentioned before, and a decline in high dollar penalties. But everything was a little lower because the activity was lower. However, it still doesn't mean zero. So again, the people who are trying to cut the safety department because they feel like the safety department is the first thing to go, that is not going to be true. So do you want to go back to the actual data? You guys could see this on Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm going to have my report out soon, so you'll be able to see that there. But just remind everyone, especially those of you that are in process safety management, those of you in oil and gas, those of you in power generation distribution, if you have hazards such as silica, excavation and trenching, those warehousing, I can't forget you guys, chemical manufacturing, you guys are going to see OSHA like always. So don't feel like you're out of the woods. State plans, you guys are different altogether. So you state plan states, they could be more stringent than OSHA, but less stringent than OSHA, but they can't be less stringent than OSHA. So the state plan states are going to be just like they have been. So what you want to do, and I told you guys I was going to throw in this for you, you need to get your NAICS code from your old 301 logs. Your NAICS code stands for North American Industry Classification System Code, NAICS. Wow, that's a long one, wasn't it? All right, time for another drink. All right. That's the funkiest drink ever. Yeah. Every rap starts with Those are the good ones, right? All right, gang. That is definitely why you're not here for. Nobody needs that. All right, so going back to the initial thought, here I am. I'm going to show you how to get to the OSHA website. We're going to go to OSHA.gov, and like all of our, every time you guys hear me, especially those of you that have been here for a while, you know what I tell you. But the new people that are just listening, as you hear me describe how to get on the OSHA website, if you're driving, you're not doing this any other way than listening in your brain and doing it in your brain. All right? So there is no driving and doing the following. No. Okay. So first, you're going to do OSHA.gov. You want to get to when you get there, you're going to see a little area that says Help and Resources drop down menu. Click on that. You're going to look for Establishment Search. Once you'll see again under Health and Resources on the left side. And if you want to, just do it that way. That'll make it easier. So when you get to the establishment, if you know your company name and you know that OSHA has been there before, just throw in your company's name. I'm going to do one for myself with Dollar General since I mentioned them earlier. And what the response is, you're going to see if OSHA had any kind of mitigation, any kind of anything that they've done, right? So I found one. I'm going to grab the code for this one. NAICS, remember that is North American Industry Classification System Code. I'm going to grab the code for the Dollar General Store. 453998 is the code I'm going to be looking up. Those of you driving, I'm going to be your hands, as you guys are going to have your hands on 10 and 2. Keep your eyes on the road. All right, so I grabbed that. Those are everyone else that's with me. You're going to go back to the data and statistics page after you get your code. If you already have your code, then that's even better. You didn't have to do that one step I just did. So once you get to the data and inspection page, that's OSHA.gov/data. You're going to go down to where it says inspection data. You'll see a picture of a lady showing up a pad or something to two guys working there all with their hard hats. Click on that, and then you're going to do a search. It's going to be frequently cited OSHA standards. So you could click that, put in your NAICS code in there. And once you do, what this is going to tell you is if OSHA shows up to your organization, this is the things that they're going to be looking for in their actual citation. But then this is a 1-year period. So now you're also going to see how many inspections in your industry in a 1-year period, and then how many sites. So my response came back of the code is for all other miscellaneous store retailers except tobacco stores. And it looks like the number one citation is exit routes. And you guys know when you go to those stores, look at the exits. They're always blocked with material, right? Too much stuff because they don't want to pay for places, the warehousing and all that like you have with a Walmart. So what do? You put all your stock in that one little square footage that you got with workers and people. So at that point, block exits are common. So therefore, you now have 10 violations on that one. So again, if I am trying to get my job and keep my job and I'm looking at these numbers here, you now could start seeing waste in penalties that you could help your organization reduce or eliminate this. So this is going to give you some things to talk about. So if you guys didn't see anything on that list, then not all NAICS codes have a lot of regulation. So that also is telling you something, that in a year period, OSHA didn't regulate you last year. You may be one of those organizations that, I'm not saying don't think about OSHA compliance. I'm just saying you may not have to worry about inspections as much, but that's okay. We shouldn't care about that. That's bare minimum OSHA. You want to actually get way beyond that you don't even have to think about, am I OSHA compliance or not? You want to get into a safety culture. All right, so let's go back to data and statistics. You're going to click on inspection again. And this is the last one I'm going to walk you guys through. Now what you want to do is you want to search investigation search. Or actually, it'll say search inspections by NAICS code. So then paste in your code in the NAICS block. I'm pasting in that same code that I use for Dollar General. And the results that you get back is inspections after you narrow down how many years you want this system to go back. And you could even narrow it down by OSHA office or by state. So you could see if your specific area has a lot of activity related to your industry. So now if you do have a lot of OSHA activity in your area, that's another reason for you to say, instead of OSHA could inspect this at any time and we're going to have this big OSHA stick that you're going to wield to keep your position, you could be more specific about it. You could say, well, in our industry, and you could give your NAICS code and to your boss and to show them this is down to the region. We have more risk than other people. I think you want my department here to help you. Not trying to get you to shake down the boss in any way, but just education. Education that is not true. And this whole episode is just to help you guys know that it is not true that now that you have an administration that will seem to be more business friendly and that now we don't have to worry about regulation at all. It is just not true. And we have history of this particular president from the last time he was here. And there was a lot of regulation. There were still dollars being spent and very big cases that were being done too. So not true. You guys just hang in there. Next week when we get back, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about just understanding your roles, helping the organization see you as input, not just an output, and then also going to get you the wording that you're going to need just so that you could truly make your case. And not only the wording, but the activity. You're going to have to prove that you're worth it. And some of this has a time element, so you're going to have to get started as quickly as possible so that by summer, by fall, you're going to start seeing some results. So that's next week. If you have not subscribed to this podcast, or have not shared it to someone and asked them to subscribe, please do. That'll help me out quite a bit. I'd love to be able to share everything that I'm sharing with you with others. And hopefully all together we'll get some help, right? So go ahead and share it. And if you have not subscribed, which the math is telling me more of you are listening to me than are subscribed to me. So quick thing, just hit that little button to subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing, but it means a lot to me. All right. So have yourself a wonderful rest of the day, rest of the week. Go get them.
That's a wrap for today's safety show. Remember, safety isn't just about hard hats and caution signs. It's about business smarts too. Thanks for joining us on the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus. Until next time, stay safe, stay savvy, and keep consulting like a boss. Go get 'em. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast or broadcast are those of the host and its guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within the past hour, only examples. It should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the positions of the company. No part of this podcast or broadcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast or broadcast, Sheldon Primus.
This episode has been powered by Safety FM.
Are you ready to make a difference? Introducing the Safety Consultant Blueprint course. Unlock your potential as a safety consultant. Learn the skills, strategies, and ethics to create safer workplaces for your very own client. From risk assessment to client acquisition, we've got you covered. Become a safety consultant and open doors to being your own boss. Join us and be the hero of workplace safety. Enroll today. Safety starts with you. Take the first step now. Visit our website and enroll in the Safety Consultant Blueprint course. Empower businesses. Protect lives. SafetyConsultantBlueprint.com.